I promise you, the coaches will coach better in order because they know they're going to get recognition. You're going to be on national TV. They have all the reason to come in and watch the Cowboys and wax their ass. So I'm telling you right now, you better play like you're playing the Super Bowl and do not give up. And if there's anybody that's ready to play on this team, that's why you went to training camp. You took your ass to training camp to make the football team so you can play. So get your ass out there on the field and play. And stop playing around with, I don't know if he should play. Well, hell, if he on the team, he better get his ass out there and play.
What is up, Cowboys Nation? Mike Tag, Kelly K9, we in the house. And I don't know about you guys. We're going to get this thing rolling, but I'm going to forget. So hit that subscribe, thumbs up if you guys are creeping in. I see people creeping in now. Chuck, Vince, Doug, Carl. Definitely hit that thumbs up on your way in. Cuts by Jones is in the house. But, Kelly, I don't know about you, but, the off season, it feels a lot like last season. There was a little bit of, we didn't do nothing. And then they started making a few moves. And then this thing, it's the same thing. Didn't do nothing. Now, they're making some moves. And dare I say, this defensive line that you and I have been questioning all off season, could this turn into a strength? They signed Linval Joseph, another big body. They had the kid from Buffalo they signed too, and then they got Carl Lawson. What's going on? What's going on here?
Well, encouraging things for the defensive line. We'll see how these moves play out. I don't want to bump it and say these are Super Bowl caliber winning moves, but they're moves, and it's better than nothing. I think that these guys will help. I think it's better than what we currently had or have right now. I think Linval Joseph automatically is an upgrade to the D-line. I think he's a Jonathan Hankins type guy who's going to help with the run game. He's going to help move that interior, that defensive line. I like Carl Lawson. I like the Lawson move that we got, the guy that we got from the Jets, right, that we traded for. So I like the moves that they've made. I don't think that these are guys they're not tier one free agent guys, but they're definitely guys that can help this defensive line, and I think will help this defensive line turn from a weakness to maybe not a strength, but to definitely help it not be a liability going forward.
Yeah. Well, I could just say this. I think I've talked about it. We got enough. We got enough A guys. I don't need no more of them. I need the lunch pail guys. I need the guys that are going to do some dirty work. We got all the glam. We need some blue collar guys. And for them to get, was it Jordan Phillips was the other one, right? So you got two guys pushing 350 a piece, plugging up that middle. You got Lawson. We lost Sam Williams to an injury, but I think this defensive line is better than last year. And that's not saying a lot. I get it, but I think this defensive line is now getting better. And Joseph played under Zimmer, so he's familiar with Zimmer's style. So should be an easy, transition for him coming to this defense. And of course, what does this do to your ends? Because now, I've talked about it, man. If we stay thin with our defensive tackles, are they going to move? They're going to have to move Tank over there a little bit to try and help out. Now you can really keep Tank on, one side. Obviously, Parsons, move him around, and then you've got Nealon. You get the other guys coming in there, and then hopefully, obviously, with Lawson, now you're getting something going. But this is what I wanted to see. It's like I said, I don't need them to sign the top. We got enough of that. I need to see some lunch pail guys, and so far, they're doing that. So that's what makes me feel a little bit more confident than I was maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I think right now, if you ask me today, is my confidence level higher than it was 2 weeks ago? I'd say yes. It's about time we see this front office start moving with a little bit of urgency. Why did they wait so long to do this? Probably because in training camp, they started seeing that this defensive line ain't going to cut it. I guarantee you that's why they started making these moves. They started looking at it, and Mike Zimmer is saying, listen, you brought me in here. You want me to fix this defense. You want me to make this defense a non-liability in the playoffs where we don't get smacked around and ran all around like Green Bay did on us in the first round last year. I'm going to need some beef up front because right now, Mozzie Smith, he's not it. And I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying that he won't pan out. but I'm saying he is not the guy. And I said that initially. I said, if Mozzie's the guy day one, and that is your guy, that's who you're having to go to, that's your go-to guy, him next there to Osa, we're in trouble because I just haven't seen it from Mozzie just yet. You've seen some flashes, some improvements, but he's not the guy who's going to take that on all by himself. He needed help. He needed reinforcements. We brought some of that in, and now all of a sudden we've got some meat on that. You know, I posted some on Twitter. I said, where's the beef? I said, you remember that commercial from back in the day?
The old lady.
That the beef now is on the interior of this Cowboys defensive line, and you love to see it. So we're starting to see some things come together, some very encouraging things on both sides of the trenches, the defensive line. And I would also say that offensive line as well. I thought I saw some really good things from Cooper Beebe playing against the Raiders. Was able to see there was a clip where they called it the double tap. He took on the nose tackle and literally just buried that dude. And then here comes the right tackle, or not the right tackle, but the right end. He took out two guys in the same play. Took out one guy and then moves a couple yards up, takes out another guy. So that just kind of showcases the athleticism of Beebe. And I think him and Guyton and Tyler Smith, man, and then with Zach Martin, I mean, that offensive line is starting to take shape, and I think it's going to be pretty damn good by the end of the year.
Yeah, and I talked about it on Monday's show with Jimmy, and I said, could this be the next Great Wall? Now, I know, pump the brakes, Mike, you're getting too high, getting a little too crazy, but I think what excites me is in the last two drafts, you got Tyler Smith, who I think he's headed down that path. And Guyton, what he's shown, Beebe. Don't forget Hoffman. Don't forget, Bass. I mean, Steele. McCarthy said he's had a really good camp. And then you got your veteran Zach Martin. But of the others, they're all 25 and under. So what we thought was Richards, I'll throw him in there too. What we thought was a liability a year ago. I mean, just last season, we're like, man, this offensive line, man, we got to figure out what's going on. You give credit to the front office. I mean, we give Jerry and all that. We got to give him a shit. You got to give him a little credit here. Is the offensive line potentially has just rebuilt itself, because you got to think Martin's a year, he's a year out, 2 years tops. But you possibly are going to be able to throw Beebe there, throw Bass there, and then slide Hoffman. However way they do it, you've got a lot of versatility on the offensive line now. So it is like, maybe things are looking good. What do you mean cut? What? Cut the brakes. Forming the next great O-line. I mean, are they doing it? Are they? I mean, it's not in fruition yet. We got to see what happens. But on paper so far, you got to be a little excited about it. No?
I'm excited about it because two things. One, I think our run game, one of the big reasons they struggled last year was because of this offensive line. This offensive line was not great in moving the defensive line. Too often you saw that defensive line collapse in the O-line, which makes it harder for the running back to hit the holes. I mean, if it's a run to the left and that left side is the hole is filled, then he's trying to have to bounce it out, and he's bouncing it back to the right. And it was just way too many negative plays we saw because the lack of our offensive line being able to move people. I've seen the opposite. Now, obviously, it's preseason. We still got to get in the regular season. But in preseason, in training camp, I have seen not only Tyler Guyton be able to move, but you're starting to see Beebe get more snaps. Initially, it was Hoffman. Beebe is starting to really push Hoffman for that starting position. I honestly think Beebe is going to be the starter in week one now at this point from what I've seen, just because when you've got those guys in there, you're seeing a big push. You're seeing the defensive line be moved by our offensive line. That is a great sign. If you can do that, you can run the ball, and you do not need an all-pro caliber running back to run it. I kind of harken back to the day when we had that offensive line going and we had Darren McFadden. You remember Darren McFadden?
Oh, yeah.
Had over 1,000 yards that season because of the offensive line. It wasn't because he was a great running back and he was just, ripping people. He got those yards. He got 1,000-yard season because that offensive line opened up holes for him. And if you don't think that Ezekiel Elliott can be 1,000-yard back behind this offensive line, if it's an improved offensive line, then you might not be watching this offensive line. I know a lot of people that don't think Zeke's going to go over 1,000. Watching this offensive line, I think it's possible he could. He could, and Mark, it's funny because I was giving Mark all kinds of shit, and he made a bet. He made a bet with Cam a while back. They said Zeke's going to get 800 plus yards and 8 TDs. I said, no way, man. No way. I said he's a 700-yard back going. I actually might have to back off that now. I might think that Zeke could get close to a 1,000-yard clip. I understand it's going to be running back by committee. There will be multiple running backs in there. But listen, this offensive line has improved. There's no doubt about it. They've improved from last year, in my opinion, and that's what I've seen just here in the preseason. I'm willing to say this offensive line will be better this year than they were last year.
Yeah, and you bring it up, and it was a topic, so no better time than the present to talk about it. You talk about the running backs. Do we have enough at the running back position? You got Zeke, right? You got Rico. We'll see. Deuce, you think is probably going to be on the team. I think special teams will play a role in that. You got Lipke. You got Freeman. You got who's the guy that's been here for a while, number 34, Davis, right? Yeah. So Malik Davis. You got all these running backs, but you're kind of, it's almost like quarterbacks. If you got two, you got none. I mean, we've got a lot of these running backs. Do you think there'll be a guy that is going to be kind of not the bell cow, because I think they're going to be by committee, but you always have that guy, all right, he gets 2 series, the other guy's going to get 1. He's going to get 2, he's going to get 1. Do you think it's going to be Zeke? Do you think it's going to be Rico, or do you think they're just going to go with the hot hand at the time?
I just from the feel that I have early on, I think that it's going to be Zeke. I don't think Zeke's going to be a guy that gets 300 carries this year by any stretch. And don't even think he's getting 250. But I definitely think Zeke's the guy that they roll out who gets the start in these games. But I think you will see a heavier dose of Rico Dowdle than we did last year, where it seemed like they were almost hesitant to use him at times. And it just didn't seem like – it was kind of almost like when we used to say, hey, let's get Pollard a few more carries. Let's get Pollard some more. It's kind of that kind of situation last year with the Pollard and Rico Dowdle thing. I think Dowdle gets a little bit more trust this year. I think you'll see a little bit more of him. And, and then the preseason, again, now we've seen a little bit of flashes of some Deuce Vaughn runs and Deuce getting mixed in there. I don't know if they're going to mix him in. I thought they were going to last year, but when they did, it didn't really look great. But again,
that was your hot take, man.
It was my hot take, and it was my big miss. I crashed and burned on that. I said, I remember what I said. I said, listen, it's like Leonardo DiCaprio on Wolf of Wall Street. I want you to judge me by my mistakes, not my hits, because I have so few. But that was a big one. I said he was going to have 1,000 yards from scrimmage. I said 1,000 yards. God, that was
he get 100?
He didn't even get 100, I don't think. I think he was like – I don't even think he got 100. I think he got like 50. I don't even know if he got 50. That was a huge miss, though. But look, no, if you can open up holes in the run game, then you can have some success like that. You can, and I'm not saying Deuce Vaughn's going to do that this year, but I'm saying we might see a little bit more of him this year than we did last year, just because of the fact that I feel like there is more uncertainty at the running back position. So, but I'm starting to back off my concern level with the running back position just because of what I've seen from this offensive line. Because that's the thing, is if you can open a hole and you've got a running back that can hit that hole, then everything else kind of comes easy, because you open up a hole, you're getting 4 or 5 yards. If you can average 4.5 yards a carry, if you can average between 4 and 5 yards a carry, you're going to be sitting pretty no matter who your running back is. And I think that that's going to be that the Cowboys got a good shot at that, even with a running back by committee. And I know a lot of people have been talking about them going after like a Dalvin Cook. I wouldn't be against that. But I think right now, the Cowboys are feeling that they're good right now at this point. I don't know that they'll sign a running back for the season.
And Ultra still believes the Cowboys might, trade. Maybe, someone's going to cut. Maybe this isn't the end of the running backs. But, Kelly, I'll start this, but I know you probably may want to finish it. So my man Carl, I like Carl. He's an Eagle fan. They're going to double Lamb, force Dallas to run. I welcome that, because one, your secondary sucks. Lamb is going to beat the double, but you're forgetting about Ferguson and you're forgetting about the other weapons this Cowboy has. I welcome that. What do you think about that, Kelly? What do you think?
I mean, you double Lamb, then that means Cooks is one-on-one, and we know he's a speed guy. You've got Turpin, that's a speed guy. You got the immersion of Jalen Tolbert, who is looking really good. You've got Ferguson, who by the end of the season, Ferguson's going to be a top 5 tight end. I will bet on that and stand on that. He'll be a top 5 tight end in this league. And that's with the emergence of some good rookie tight ends like Bowers from Las Vegas. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a lot better this year now that he's got a quarterback. I think that Ferguson's going to stand as a top 5 quarterback, is top 5 tight end at the end of this year. And listen, look no further than the fact that Jalen Hurts went pretty much the entire training camp without throwing an interception. And you've got Eagles beat writers literally, busting their loads over history being made. First of all, I didn't know we tracked them.
Did we keep stats in practice?
I didn't know that was a stat thing. But let me just tell you, if Jalen Hurts, the guy who was throwing interceptions like he was giving away, bicycles and food to the homeless, was able to slice up that secondary, just imagine what an actual competent quarterback's going to be able to do to that secondary. Dak Prescott is going to murder the Eagles secondary. That's not a good sign that your quarterback's not throwing picks in training camp, that he threw one interception your entire training camp. That's not a good sign. That's not something I would be bragging about. In fact, I would be very, very concerned if I was an Eagles fan about that garbage-ass secondary that they have. So, listen, it's going to be a field day. So, Carl, we will be here all season. I hope you are too, because when we play you guys and drop 50 on you, I definitely want you right here to go ahead and own up that your secondary is complete trash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And no doubt about it. And also, some people are now they're dogging the Eagles. But I was going to say, Falk said his main concern sneakily is tight end. He has Ferguson and just some guys. But I'm going to say that I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know. John Stevens, we're going to see what happens with him, but he's actually one of these guys he had an ACL injury. He showed a lot last preseason. He's showing some here. Schoonmaker has not been, I thought he's had a pretty good camp. Hendershot's there. You're not going to, it's not like, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not like you're going to have, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk together. Yeah. That's very rare that you're going to get 2 tight ends. That was probably the worst name I could probably use, but it's the only one that came to my head. But so Ferguson's going to be on the field all the time. So he should be very durable. He's a big guy, and I don't think it's that. I'm not that concerned. Are you concerned with that at all, Kelly?
With tight end, I'm not, just because I think that Ferguson is just. We didn't really need a second tight end when Jason Witten was basically just dominating opposing defenses. I couldn't even name you who the second tight end was when Jason Witten was in his heyday. Could you, off top?
Oh God, no. I can picture him, but I don't remember his name.
And that lets you know though, because it was Jason Witten was the guy. So I'm not really concerned about it, just because I think that the chemistry that Dak developed with Ferguson last year, I think is going to carry over into this year, and I think you're going to see a jump from Ferguson this year. And I think it's going to be a big enough jump that you're not going to really be worrying about your secondary tight end. I think that these wide receivers, these young guys that we have, the emergence of these guys taking the next step, and a Jalen Tolbert, and even our rookie that has gotten some playing time.
There we go. Out there, Gavin Escobar, late Gavin Escobar, Blake Jarwin. There was another guy. Who was the other guy? He had kind of not a funky name, but it was God.
We had the one guy who was the guy that was a former basketball player. He had a brother that played
Martellus Bennett.
Martellus Bennett. There you go. So, we got super chat.
Your computer's working. Are you there? You're good. Go ahead, Kelly. Take it away.
We got a super chat from Chris Warden. So first of all, thanks, Chris, for the super chat. We appreciate that. Evening, boys. I like how both lines are looking in the preseason. If they hold up, then our run game and run defense will be way better, which means we won't have to rely on Dak's arm every single week. And, I mean,
100% agree with that.
Couldn't say that any better. I mean, last year we were having to throw the ball a lot, and that's been one of our weaknesses. That is in the postseason, we have not run the ball well. In fact, if you look back to the last preseason losses, we have yet to run over 100 yards in any one of those losses, which is a problem. If you are forced to throw the ball, you become one-dimensional. You can't run out the clock. There's time of possession issues. I mean, hell, I think that 49ers game 2 years ago, I think we ran the ball. I think it was 56 yards of total rushing offense, which is abysmal. And you're not going to win in the playoffs if you can't run the ball. So definitely an encouraging thing. So, yes, absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Good
and looking at it too, we're going into our last preseason game. God, it's crazy how this happened. And just want to give a shout out because he did give a big thanks. Is my man Mike. This is what happens sometimes. He reached out to me, and I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything, but he said, "Hey man, I'd love. Do you use your preseason tickets?" He wanted to buy them off me. I said, "Man, just take them. I mean, it's preseason. I'm not gonna sell these tickets. I wouldn't be able to look in the mirror selling those tickets to anybody." So he's going to the game. It's first time. I think it's first time at AT&T. So he said he owes me a beer. I said, "I'll take that." I mean, maybe Kelly too. 2 tickets, a beer for each of us. Maybe we'll get that. But hopefully, Mike, you have a great time at the game, and it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, preseason's more relaxed. It's especially this one, there'll be some stuff in there. But Trey Lance might be playing the whole game. I mean, do you still? The question was asked. Someone asked me in Twitter or somewhere. Right now, would you have Trey Lance be your backup or your third? Or what would you do, Cooper Rush? I mean, where are you at with the whole Trey Lance kind of Cooper Rush? We won't even bring up Dak because he's our starter, but what do you think of those two?
I think Cooper Rush is still your backup quarterback. I haven't seen enough from Trey Lance to say that he's better than Cooper Rush. I would take Cooper Rush. I think athletically, Trey Lance is more athletic, but athleticism doesn't get you a spot. I've still seen too many issues with Trey. I thought he played better this last game against the Raiders. He still was not great. And there's still just some issues that honestly that in year 4 to me is concerning. And I think that Trey Lance, honestly, I think he's got a roster spot this year. Jerry said he has a roster spot. I think Cooper Rush is your backup. I think Trey Lance is not on this team next year, and I think his best bet is a developmental league. I think he's going to the USFL, and I think that's where he'll try to hone his skills. Possibly show what he can do there, maybe try to improve there. Because I really don't think that the Cowboys have the kind of time it would need to keep investing in Trey Lance. I just don't think so. I think he's been working on things. It's not like the Cowboys didn't know the issues he had coming into it. Those issues are still present. His footwork is off. He still, unfortunately, is not great progressing through his reads. Putting touch on some of these balls is not great. I haven't seen enough from him. Cooper Rush is my backup, and he's my third string guy.
Yeah. Well, here's mine, and it's not going to be popular. So I'll get ready for the hate, and I'm fine with it. I look at Cooper Rush, and I would say, look, God forbid, knock on wood, if Dak missed a game, I would go Cooper Rush. If there was significant time, I'm talking like we don't even want to talk about it, but significant time, I would go with Trey Lance because I think his potential ceiling is going to be higher, and I think that's what you'd need. So I'm not giving up on Trey Lance yet. I think he definitely needs to show something more. I think he showed a little bit in the last preseason game. I think with his legs, I think there's opportunity for him to, maybe, I don't want to say Cordell Stewart for any of you guys back in the 90s when he was slashed, but maybe there's something that they can do similar to with the Saints, using their quarterback. I don't know. I think he can be a weapon for this team in certain things. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm just trying to think of ways to be creative on the offense and to be able to utilize some of his skill set, but he's definitely hadn't done as well as I thought, but he's only 24 and he's very limited. I know I'm going to fix the goddamn thing. Go ahead and put that on there. I mean, I work. I work. You understand what I'm trying to say? I explain why it's crooked. I'm gonna put that. That's gonna be my wife. I'm gonna have her do it. I went out to a concert last night, but I went out to a concert.
Hey, I'm just saying, if I ever make it down there, I'm really good at centering stuff. I eyeball that shit all the time, and I'm really good at it. I can help a brother out.
Well, if you do, if any of you guys make it down to the Tampa Bay area, I will say we did it last year. We're going to do it again for the Saints game, week two. We're going to be at Henderson's in Tampa with the Tampa Bay Cowboy Nation party, and we're going to do a live show from there. It's going to be a great time. It was a really fun time last year. We're going to get that thing rolling. So I'll get it fixed. It was fixed. I slid everything over to fit in the camera, and here, I'll give you guys a tip. All my pictures that you see everywhere, I don't nail them in. I use the 3M, the dual lock. And that way I can take them and change them easily. I can center them. They stay centered. So I had done all that, but the U-hands I nailed in because with wood, it doesn't hold up well. So that's nailed in, which makes it more of a pain in the ass. I got to take it out. I got to patch it. I got to paint it. So it takes work. And it's summertime in Florida. I go out, I'm on the.
You're out there. You're living. You got the boat. You got the pontoon boat. Yes. Cowboys. So you're out there just living that lavish lifestyle on the jet skis, evading death. Just like clear. Really close calls with death. My man Mike out here just living.
Yeah, man. That's what we're trying to do. So I'll fix it. I promise. I'm gonna get this thing rolling. We're gonna get back to who needs to stand out because we got a special guest. And I know my man Kelly, who's thinking about is, hey man, we gotta get some extra funds. Well, the way you get extra funds is you work with our guy or Vegas Insider, the man who knows everything about it, and that's Uncle Cheech. So let's.
Oh, my man Cheech he's got the whole the beard going and everything. You looking nice there, Mr. Cheech.
How you doing, guys?
I'm doing good. I'm probably not as good as you, but I'm doing good.
So, hey, here's the lowdown. I said it on Monday, and Uncle Cheech he's a regular on Monday. He's going to be coming on this show. What he's great at is his lock of the week. Lock of the week, I mean, he was running 75, 80%. So we're going to have a little bit of fun in the cave this season. Every week, he's going to do his lock of the week. Now, we're going to start week 1. The Cowboys Cave is donating $100 to the cause. And every week he wins, it's just going to go up and up and up. And we're going to do it $100 each week, unless he loses it all. If he loses 2 weeks in a row, we're broke. We got nothing left. But if he builds it up, we're going to keep tracking. Each week, we're going to pick. All you guys got to do is say, enter me in, and we'll come up with a way that we know you guys entered. And you guys will get the one winner. At the end of the year, we're going to take all those weeks, and then we're going to draw it out of a hat, old school style. Whoever's name we draw is going to get half the money. So put it this way. If Uncle Cheech is 17-0, that's $1,700 that's going to be split 50-50. 50 goes to me because I fronted the money, and 50 goes to a winner. So it's a great opportunity to win some money and have fun with it. And you could play along and put a little few bucks in there because Uncle Cheech makes a lot of money for a lot of people, and it's a lot of fun. Uncle Cheech,
that he does.
You're new to the Wednesday. We got a different crowd sometimes, so give people a little background of you. Let them know where you're coming from, the work that you do. What the hell's that doing? Go ahead.
Something wrong with your mic?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
First of all, for you thousands of new subscribers that weren't here last year, I'm a former bookmaker, sports handicapper. This is for serious bettors only. I'll make you money by the end of the year. I know what to do, what not to do. First thing you do, you stay disciplined. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. Don't try to recoup your losses. Most importantly, stay away from all this crap over and under and 3-game parlays and who's going to throw for 300 yards a game and all this other junk. Most importantly, you bet one One team per week. One.
That's it. One.
I've done it. I've taken it off. I used to encourage people, just like these gambling sites do. Encourage people, play parlays. I'll have your money. No problem. Play one team, a little bit different. I was 52% picking 4 teams. Picking one team, 75, 76%. Says it all right there. Against the spread.
Against the spread. Yeah, this isn't straight up. We're going against the spread. And nobody's good against Vegas as our own Uncle Cheech. He's been.
If you're a small-time nickel and dime gambler, don't pay any attention to what I say because this isn't for you. Yeah. This is for serious gamblers that want to make serious money and they bet serious money because you will make money. I can assure you.
Now,
just stay with the formula. One K9, don't drink and gamble.
I don't know way too well about that.
Make sure your bets are in first. Then you can drink all you want.
All right.
Or else you're going to do things you normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. So that's what we're doing, Uncle Cheech. Now, Uncle Cheech, you're going to start when the season goes, but I don't know. Do you have any teaser? We got college football this weekend. You got Florida State, playing a sneaky game in Ireland. Would you touch that game or,
if you want something to play with, go ahead and take Florida State, give it 10. They're not happy. They're not happy with the way the season ended last year. And I think they're going to put it to them, whether it's in Ireland, England, Russia, Ukraine. Give the 10.
Now, Uncle Cheech, you got a doubter in here named Chuck. Now, Chuck, you could go back to every week that we did it last year. We did this live, and his lock of the week, 100% was over 75%. My man Chuck doesn't believe you. He thinks that no long-term success.
Well, I don't give a shit what Chuck thinks. Don't I care what he thinks.
Just watch the show and bet the lot. I'm a believer. I'm a believer.
76% picking one game, Chuck. Not 4, not parlays.
No parlay. One game. That's it. That's what you do. Jimmy is on record, and he showed me the receipts. I mean, he paid his mortgage 6 months, paid ahead of time with some of the doings at Uncle Cheech. Kelly, I don't know what's going on with you. I know people are screwing with you at your crib. This might be an opportunity to do a little fundraising of your own.
It's time to invest some of that money. It's time to do some gambling. I don't do a ton of it, but when it comes to football season, that's my time. So I'm gonna be leaning on Cheech.
All right. Well, Uncle Cheech, is there any
I'm gonna give you a full slate starting next week on Monday and Wednesday. Once the season's in full swing, it's gonna be pros, gonna be college, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. A couple of my outsiders for the.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me build this up. We got a couple sleepers. I want to get a couple your NFL sleepers. Last year, you had Detroit. Detroit went to the championship game. That was one of your sleepers. Jacksonville had some injuries.
Well, those were my Super Bowl picks.
Oh, those are your Super Bowl picks. Okay. All right. Well, what do you have? Well, go ahead with your sleepers. Go ahead with your sleepers.
This year, got to be Houston and the Atlanta Falcons. Sleepers. Atlanta's got the quarterback that they needed. Houston, they gave him another weapon. Diggs, one of the best receivers in the league. If he has another good year, the defense will be solid.
Yeah.
And Atlanta plays good ball. They just didn't have the quarterback. And get them up that next time. If you want to take a shot on them, you can probably get real good odds.
Very good odds.
All right. That's a shot I take.
Now, the Super Bowl pick. Let me get to this because we got to get right. We got to get rolling. I want to. Hopefully, you had time to marinate on it because you said something that got me a little angry, a little hyped up on Monday's show. So, did you have a chance to sleep on it and come to your senses? Give me your Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, I didn't sleep on it, and I'm still taking Cincinnati at 13-1. And that's hoping Burrow stays healthy. He's 3-1 against Mahomes. If he stays healthy and they get there, he's the only one that can beat him. And I'm going to go again. I'm telling you, the Green Bay Packers, they beat you guys by 16. They only lost by 3 to San Francisco. Beat you guys by 16.
Now we understand there's already been a full-scale investigation in that game. We saw the $100 bills out of Quinn's pocket. You're full of shit. We all know the game was a setup. We know it was a scam. We got the quarterback paid. That's what it was all about. You're never gonna sell me on anything different. Green Bay, listen closely, will not make the playoffs. They will not make the playoffs this year. Jordan Love, not going to happen. Am I crazy, Kelly?
Do you think they're worse than they were last year? You think they're worse team?
I think they are. They barely made the playoffs. I'm telling you, they were a club fighter.
They don't mean nothing. They were there. You were watching on TV.
There's no way in hell. There is no way in hell. I'm not gonna. I'm done with that shit.
Dallas is better than they were last year today.
Yes. Today. Right now, I believe they are. Kelly, help me out, guys.
With a washed-up running back and no CeeDee Lamb, you think they're better today?
They're gonna have CeeDee Lamb.
Well, CeeDee Lamb should be there. He'll be there.
He's gonna play. Yes.
I said today.
What are your odds on that? Because I'll take that money and make some easy money right now.
I know Green Bay's 19-1.
No, I'm talking about you saying CeeDee Lamb ain't going to be there in the first game.
See, you guys, I watch Judge Judy all the time. Don't try to confuse me. I said, are they better today? Are they better today than they were last year? Dallas. Today.
Yeah, today they are. CeeDee Lamb is under contract. He's just not there.
But they're not better today. He's not there.
No, that's semantics.
He beat the hell out of you last year.
Get the hell out of here. This bullshit.
Do it again.
Kelly,
I got no skin in the game. I don't give a shit who wins, but I'm just telling you, from what I see, I picked Detroit because they had a strong ending to the season the year before.
That's
Green
right.
Bay had a strong ending to the season last year. That's how I handicapped it.
Yeah.
I don't care who the hell wins. I'm just telling you what I'm betting.
I think that Green Bay still has. I think Green Bay still has a shot at the playoffs. I think Detroit wins that division though, and I think it's going to make it. And I think what will make it harder for Green Bay to seal up a wild card spot will be the emergence if Chicago has the kind of season a lot of people are thinking they may. Because I'll tell you what, it hinges on the quarterback. If Caleb Williams is the quarterback that everybody claims he can be, which I still haven't really bought into it just yet with him, but if he is the quarterback that they all say he is, they got a loaded offense, and that offense should be scary. And I think that Chicago could definitely be a team that could keep.
That's a good bet to me.
The odds are good.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
One of those would sure go down nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, Uncle Cheech, we appreciate it. So you guys know we got a little contest going. You know, this is what we do in the cave, man. We're always giving back to the people that are part of us, part of Cowboys Nation. So this is going to be a good opportunity. I'll leave you with this. Miami Hurricanes, because, you know, I'm a beloved Cane.
They're my sleeper in college.
Are you feeling good about that? What about Texas Tech?
You got to remember, with the one pick in the one game, now you got a 12-game college playoff.
Yeah.
Which you didn't have before. So you're looking at 25 games you're going to be picking.
Yeah.
Try playing a parlay and all that and see how you end up.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm not doing that shit.
I mean, I got plenty of my own money. I'm not in this business no more. Since they legalized sports betting, put me out of business. But I retired comfortably.
That's all that matters.
And I'm just telling you. All the suckers. Like, what was that movie we watched that you called me about?
The 1-900 guy. Remember the call-ins? Kelly, you remember those call-ins? I got your hot tip of the week. The movie with
every Saturday and Sunday they'd be on first thing in the morning. I'll give you 3 winners of this and that. So I'm saying you're going to pay them to lose your money on top of it.
Yeah.
You're paying somebody to lose your money. Now, how stupid can you be? So, it's a good movie.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie. I highly recommend it. It was a Pacino movie I'd never seen. Never seen it before. So, all right, Uncle Cheech, we will see you next week. You guys hear it. opportunity for you guys to make a little scuttle. You know what I'm talking about. So you guys check it out. Uncle Cheech, thanks again for hopping in.
All right, guys.
See you next
Have
Monday.
a good one.
All right, take care. Oh man, Uncle Cheech gets me fired up with it. You're talking. He's right. I mean, why is he riding the Green Bay Pack? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being.
I think there's a lot of people that were encouraged by the kind of season that Jordan Love had. Honestly, I didn't watch the Packers much last year, so I didn't realize the season he had. But damn, he had himself a hell of a season last year. So
didn't he lose to the Panthers?
What's that?
Didn't they lose to the Panthers? That game's still embarrassing.
They did, and I remember thinking that and going, man, that was one of the things that made me think we were going to steamroll these guys. But I mean, in terms of like, if you look statistically just at the season that he had, though, I think he had like 34, 35. I mean, he was right. He almost had a similar season what Dak had. He had like 32 touchdowns, and I think he had like only like 8 or 9 picks. Like, it wasn't a lot. I don't think it was in double digits. Like, had a really good season last year.
Absolutely. And I'm I'm teasing a little bit. I think I respect Jordan Love because that whole organization, the fan base and everything was against him. It was the whole Rodgers thing, and then Rodgers leaves, and Jordan Love played a couple games and he didn't do well in his opportunities, during that time. And then now he's going to be the starter. And they had a rocky beginning. And they all were turning against him, the fans were, and he battled through it and had a hell of a year. So Green Bay Packers, they got a great young quarterback. I don't know if he's top 5. He got paid his money and this and that. I think he needs to send a check over to Quinn. I think he might need to send him a few bucks because I think the Cowboys game is what got him paid. But he had a good season, so it's going to be interesting. But so back to the Cowboys. Now we get back to what do you need to see from this last preseason game? Have you seen enough? Is there a battle position? Maybe the wide receiver. We talked about these running backs. Cornerback safety has been very deep for this team. I can't believe I'm saying our secondary is actually a spot of depth. I mean, what are you guys seeing in the chat? What are you watching this weekend if you're watching the game at all? And Kelly, anything you're looking for?
Probably just the continued, maybe development of Trey Lance, just to see if there's anything that stands out in this last game. I feel like he'll get all the snaps. Just some of these younger players that we have. I think that Flournoy will probably get some more action in this last game. I thought he looked pretty good, and I think he continues to show that he looks pretty damn good. So I'm just probably looking at some of these younger guys that are on the roster that are looking to make a roster spot, and also looking to push for playing time, because right now with I feel like the first, second, and third roster spots in terms of that wide receiver are pretty much set in stone. I think it's that fourth one that I'm kind of looking forward to. And I think, honestly, right now, I think that's one of those things where, Jalen Brooks, I think, is pushing for some time. And I also think that Flournoy might be pushing for that number 4 spot, but one of those two guys. So it'll be kind of interesting to watch those two guys. I mean, I like what I saw from him in the preseason. Flournoy, anyway. I like what I saw from him in that last preseason game. The move that he put on that DB for the touchdown in the corner of the end zone was pretty nice. So
yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and just seeing the continued development of these guys. So
yeah, and I know J Tuck did a video on Julius Wood. The Cowboys always seem to find one of these undrafted free agents, and he's had a really good camp. In preseason games he's played well. I think he got I guess in practice he got another pick 6 against Trey Lance. So calm down, all you Eagle fans. It wasn't against Dak. But you've got all of this depth, and you can't keep them all. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how the Cowboys deal with their roster, because you got to give them credit. Like I said, we like to bash them sometimes, but in certain spots, man, they've done very well evaluating talent in the draft, but also some of these undrafted free agents. And, you look at like John Stevens, who's, he was one of those guys that was showing a lot last year, gets hurt, and he's coming back looking good. And he could end up being like your tight end 2 or tight end 3. So, and that's going to put Hendershot, probably out the door. And Hendershot was one of those guys that were like, hey, man, we got Ferguson and Hendershot, the 2 rookies. We're going to have this 1-2 punch at tight end. And it just, how things can change. And it's nothing against Hendershot. It's just you're getting more and more talent in here. So it's going to be, I think there's still a lot to play for in this last preseason game for some of these guys to get that roster spot.
I think so too, and this is one of those things where I think I'm looking for is Dak Prescott going to be the play caller? They let him do that last year, and there's been talks that he may be calling the plays offensively this year. So I would be excited about that, because I thought last year in that preseason game that he was actually showed he looked like a pretty damn good play caller. Like, I don't know if he's got don't know that makes him an offensive coordinator by any means, but he called plays rather well last year. So, yeah.
No, it's Oh, Dak's calling the plays. This last one, is that what they said?
I don't know. I was saying there's been talks that he may.
I've heard that they were.
They haven't officially announced. I don't think that if he's going, but he may. There's been talks that he may get the duties again to call the plays in this last preseason game, which I think is fun. It's the last preseason game, and I think Dak, he did a pretty damn good job last year. So.
And I think it helps him, right? Because he's seeing it from the coach's perspective, right? He's seeing what they're doing. So I think that helps him as a quarterback.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing the plays and where to call and how to do this and that. So, one of the other things we didn't even talk about it. I can't believe, we've gone through almost an hour show, and except with Uncle Cheech, we brought it up a little bit, but still no deal for CeeDee Lamb. And then I'm seeing I'm getting old. The kid from Cincinnati, they're looking at his deal going to be coming up. What is going on with the Cowboys in this, they're going to sign him. Everyone, Jerry says it. We all say it. Steven said it. Everyone says it. It's like, every day that goes by, the price never goes down, right? It always goes up. Yesterday's price isn't today's price. And this can end up being a real problem for the Cowboys long term.
Yeah, it can. The Cowboys are out here making moves, still trying to build and improve the roster with signings like Linval Joseph, obviously, and Lawson, and they're the moves they've been making. But the biggest move that can help this roster is getting CeeDee Lamb in to camp for this last week to get because here's the deal. This is the last preseason game this week. And then you've got a week off, and then we're starting the NFL season coming up. It is down to the nitty-gritty. So I feel like that you can't afford to start the season with CeeDee Lamb holding out. Like, you don't want to go into Cleveland without CeeDee Lamb. You just don't.
That's not going to be good.
No, that would not be good. And then, I've been saying all off season that, that the Cowboys would get a deal done for Dak. I'm not sure about that now, man. I don't think that's happening. I think Dak is made his mind up that he's going to play this season out, and then I think next year you're going to have a bidding war for Dak Prescott. So at the beginning of the offseason, my thoughts on would Dak Prescott be back with the Dallas Cowboys next year and would they have him re-signed? My thought was probably about 75-25 that he would be back. I'd say I'm about 60-40 right now at this point because of the fact that I think that him having to fight for his money, not a great look. And I think that there will be a bit, if he's a free agent next year, I know there will be a huge bidding war to acquire the services of Dak Prescott. So and in Falcon right now, my thought of Dak Prescott getting signed before the season is about 25-75. I think
Yeah.
I feel it's a long shot that a deal gets done. There's been minimal talks. It does not seem like it's going to get done. And if it gets to week 1, forget about it. There's no deal getting done during the season. He's playing through the season, and it's not. So I do still have the confidence that CeeDee Lamb deal gets done. Dak Prescott, I just don't think it's getting done.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just glad you didn't bet Ultra Jersey. And I don't want to,
I mean, hey, I was willing to stand behind it. I felt very positive about it. But again, like I said, I mean, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and it's looking more and more like I'm going to be wrong with it. He's not going to get signed. So
no. Look at Jimmy. Jimmy's at the Rick Springfield concert. We must be just going back in time. I did a little REO Speedwagon and train last night. No, I didn't run a train. I went to the train concert, last night, and it was a good show. And now you're at Rick Springfield. So yeah, the thing is with CeeDee Lamb, and I heard it. All right, yeah, Jerry wants to stay in the headlines, but you could be staying in the headlines, and you're staying in the headlines at the cost of a couple things. One, money, but two, and I was talking to my buddy, as a Cowboys fan today, about it. What perception does this give the other players? Like, this is your franchise guy. He's in his prime. This is an 88. Does this give them, or potential free agents or anything like that? Do you think there's any concern or any negativity this could have on them? Hey, maybe I need to hold out a little sooner. Maybe I need to do this. If they do this to him, naturally they'll do worse to me because he's one of our best guys. Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about it just not being a good look for the Cowboys. It's just, I mean, I get it. Sometimes contract negotiations take time, and there are, minute details to work out, and there's back and forths, and it wouldn't be the first time that a player's gotten upset at the way he perceived the organization is treating him. Is not appreciated. Wouldn't be the first time, but you don't want to get the reputation of, if you play for the Cowboys, you're going to have to fight to get paid, because if you outplay your contract, or if you play up to the number 2 or number 3 receiver in the NFL, then you deserve to be paid like that. And you shouldn't have to go through these types of things and having, just the way that they've handled it, it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth. And that's me as a fan. So I can only imagine for the player himself, CeeDee Lamb, how kind of he may feel about it. Now listen, nothing cures your ails like money. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna forget all about this when he gets a $170 million, $160 million contract, 120 guaranteed. Like, this all goes away when that happens. But, it's just one of those things where it seems like it's become all too common with the Cowboys that this happens when it's time to play these elite players that we have. And and it's not going to stop anytime soon, because we've got Micah Parsons coming up. You're going to have Deron Bland coming up, because Deron Bland, you're going to have Tyler Smith coming up soon in a few years. Like, it's going to keep going, because the Cowboys draft extremely well. Yeah. And when you draft extremely well, it means you have to pay these players because they're under rookie deals. So when they come up and they're looking to get that big payday, that's what everybody wants. So it's either you're going to have to give it to them, or you're going to have to try to figure out if you can trade them, or somebody else going to give it to them. It's hard decisions that have to be made by this Cowboys franchise, but they got to be made all the same. So,
yeah, no, they're definitely, Tyler Smith. You Ferguson. You can go down the list. Now you're going to get some reprieve, right? Zach Martin's probably, in his last year, maybe a couple years left tops. Tank is probably in his last year, a couple years tops. You're going to start, freeing up money too, that you had big money on some of these guys. So it'll work itself out. But I didn't understand it. We talked a lot about it before the season. It's like, hey, if you want to be aggressive in free agency early, You know, if you would have done Dak and CD, you could really structure it. And you saw other teams do that the way they structure it, that you could have been able to free up a lot of money this year to be able to make a run as at the all in that we were kind of told. He never specified what he was all in on though. So he did do that. So you got to give Jerry his credit there, but hopefully it gets done soon and then we can all move on and kind of go on to something else. Cause I know a lot of people are tired of it. I'm tired of it. I mean, I don't know what Nick's has it on Dak or is it CD? Which one does he has a daily, is it Dak? It's up to like 140 days. I don't know what CD is. Just as long. So I'm not a big guy in distractions. I just want them focused. And I think the one thing is, and I wanted to segue into one of our other topics. And then again, we can pivot wherever we need to, but I think I've said it a lot. I've always liked McCarthy. I think McCarthy is just about football. He doesn't really care about all the glam and all the crap that Jerry and Steven always want to be in the headlines. He does his, he does his football, morning show on 105.3 kind of reluctantly, but he does it on Friday so they can't talk to him Monday after a win or a loss like Jason Garrett was on Monday. So he definitely doesn't really want to get in any of this stuff. But I mean, how much confidence do you have in McCarthy? I mean, you've got 12-5 seasons. The team, barring any catastrophic injuries, they should be double digit, right? They're going to be double digit wins again. He's on his last year. So, I mean, what does this do for the players' confidence in coach as far as respecting and this and that? And I mean, as a fan, how do you feel about McCarthy? Let's say they don't make the Super Bowl. Let's say they don't make the championship game, but they have a solid season. They go 1-1 in the playoffs or something like that. Do you want to see him gone too?
I don't, because I think that good coaches are hard to come by. And I think that in the end of the day, players make plays. And I think that the fact that he has gotten the team into the playoffs 3 years in a row, I didn't think it was McCarthy's issue why we lost the Green Bay game. I thought it was on Quinn. I put it more on Quinn. I know Dak got off to that slow start, but you saw McCarthy going over to CeeDee Lamb, doing what he could, trying to calm him down, trying to keep his head in the game, which is what you want to see from your head coach. I think patience pays off. I think too often, you get these organizations that want to run through coaches because they want this instantaneous success. When you look at teams like the Baltimore Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers that have kept and stuck with these coaches because they've got faith in these coaches. These are coaches that consistently win. They may not be getting the Super Bowl every year. In fact, Mike Tomlin hasn't even won a playoff game. I think I saw something since 2017. They still have confidence in him. I think Mike Tomlin's still a great coach. And you don't hear Pittsburgh Steelers fans saying, you know what, it's time to make a change. We got to get rid of Tomlin. And I think it's kind of crazy that you do have a head coach that's won 36 games in 3 years that's being talked about as possibly being on the hot seat. And it's like, eventually the revolving carousel of head coaches, it's like, we've seen this. We've done this dance. It's like, what exactly are you looking for that you're not getting? Because like I said, at the end of the day, Mike McCarthy can only do so much for this team. The players that are getting paid these high $1 million contracts got to come out there and they got to perform it. Eventually, sometime you got to have Dak come out and start hot and get off to a hot start. You got to have this defense show up in the postseason. Micah Parsons, showing up in the postseason. You got to have these guys play. You got to have a guy like CeeDee Lamb not get off to a cold start and just go into a shell of himself. I mean, the only guy on that offense that seemingly really showed up was Ferguson with 3 touchdowns last year. He had all 3 receiving touchdowns for the Cowboys squad. CeeDee Lamb was kind of on the MIA report. Micah Parsons, MIA report. Dak Prescott really didn't get going until the second half when it was kind of already too late. The defense as a whole didn't show up. That's not on Mike McCarthy. I guarantee you the game plan was not in place for this team to bend over and grab their ankles. And that's what they did, right? So me personally, I'm on the Mike McCarthy train. I don't think he should get fired. In fact, I think he should have already been given an extension. If I was Dallas, I would have already signed him to another 3-year deal. I think he's the guy that can do it. I like his personality. I think the team likes him, and I'm backing him. So
yeah, and this is I don't know. Are you Chris Kelly?
What's that?
No, I'm joking because Chris pretty much. I put this up for you because he pretty much summed. I think you've spoke about this so many times and argued with so many people about it. But I mean, it is an honest conversation. The last 3 playoff losses, you have to be fair, and Dak deserves his criticism when it's warranted. But how many sacks, fumbles did our defense get? How many rushing yards did they allow? How many passing yards did they allow? How many points did they allow? Everything is, the pressure is always on Dak to be on 100%.
Yeah.
And you got into it with someone, just even mentioning, I know you can't do it. Patrick Mahomes, the untouchable, but I mean, he played like shit for 3 quarters. He's got 3 points, but the defense kept him in until Patrick Mahomes does what Patrick Mahomes does. That's why he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. But you need help as a team.
And what I don't understand is the mental cognitive thoughts here about how in the hell do you not understand? I'm not comparing Dak Prescott to Mahomes talent-wise level, even though there could be an argument for that when you look at their regular season stats. They've been showing them side by side. I get it. Mahomes has but I'm not comparing the two. I'm comparing the performances and saying the 2 performances are similar. Take the names out and put quarterback A and quarterback B and understand that their performances were very, very similar in what they did in terms of Mahomes had a terrible first half, started the second half off with an interception. Dak Prescott had a terrible first half and had 2 interceptions, one of them a pick 6, but was still able to score points, but the defense folded. There were several drives that we got a 3 and out. Green Bay got the ball, scored, 3 and out, scored. So it's Mahomes was doing the same thing. I mean, in that game, in the Chiefs game, they had less than 100 yards total on offense and 3 points to show for it. The Cowboys at least had a touchdown, and I'm not saying they had a great first half by any means or any stretch of the imagination, but they did have over 100 yards. They did, if you looked at them side by side, they did better, obviously minus, they had the pick 6, but they did better offensively than the Chiefs did. And the defense for the Cowboys folded while the Chiefs defense held serve and kept them in that game until Patrick Mahomes showed up and did his thing. Yeah. Now, if the Cowboys defense would have had that same kind of performance that the Chiefs had, the Cowboys would have won that game against Green Bay. But they couldn't do it. They just could not stop them at any point or any juncture of the game. None. So when I say that, it's not me comparing Dak Prescott to Patrick Mahomes. It's comparing their performances, their first half performances, and saying, listen, why can't we, who had a top 5 defense last year, why can't our defense show up when it matters the most and hold it down until Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and the rest of them guys get their shit together, and then they come in and do their thing? Because if your defense can keep you in a game, then the Chiefs showed it, you can win, and you can win it all, and you can win it when it matters. And the Cowboys defense really is yet to do that. Now, I understand this is just last year, because obviously we can go back to the 2 years with the Niners, and obviously you have the one game where we rushed for like 40-something yards the entire game. Pollard gets hurt. I feel like there was one of the San Francisco games that I kind of put on Dak, because if he just doesn't throw 2 interceptions, if he just doesn't turn the ball over.
The one against Garoppolo I was at. The one
correct. We win that game if Dak does not turn the ball over. I put that one on Dak Prescott. Not entirely, but probably like 80% of the blame, 85%. I'll put that on him. But you can't just look at every single game and it's always the quarterback. It's always the quarterback. It's a team game. I get it. The quarterback will always get the heat. That's the way it is. And especially more in Dallas, it's just more magnified. The quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is the most prominent position in all of sports, not just football, all of sports. It's more than, it used to be like, the shortstop of the New York Yankees. It's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. That's the way it's been for the last 10 years, and it's the way that it'll be for the next 25 years. So He gets all the criticism, but if you take back and look at it and get a bigger scope and look at the entire picture, I don't feel like that Dak Prescott deserves as much of the criticism as he often gets. And I was one of the people that last year after preseason, I'm like, I want him gone. I want them all gone. Like, I get it. But it's an emotional game. It's an emotional sport. And so sometimes you got to take a step back, take a deep breath, take the emotion out of it, and look at the big picture. Which after I did that, I came to the conclusion that, hey, I can't put that one on Dak's feet. Because our defense just laid out. They bent over. So,
yeah. And really, I'll give Falk some credit here because it is true. They blame the quarterback for it. It's the same people that think that just sack numbers matter. It's the same ones that'll say, oh, well, this guy got 20 sacks, so he's so much better than this one because he only got 15 sacks or something like that. If you don't watch the game, you don't see the pressure, you don't see what the player creates around him and the havoc that he causes that helps the other ones or creates turnovers or creates an interception because a quarterback is rushed to throw it. There's so much more. And it's the same thing with a quarterback. It's easy to say, and hey, the quarterbacks are judged by wins and losses. They're, who did we have on the show? I mean, Kevin Gogan said it. I mean, they're the highest paid guys in the team. That's what they're going to get. That's the way it is. I mean, you can't argue it. It is fine. But to put everything on Dak Prescott, the problems in Dallas the last few years are bigger than Dak Prescott. It's a team. It's a cultural thing with these guys because you could see it when the lights were big. They just didn't have that look of the eye of the tiger, in their eyes. I mean, I go back to the game against San Francisco where I was there to watch the Cowboys, which we should have won, lose that game against Garoppolo. And before the game, my son, he texted me, said, Dad, we lost. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I saw us come out of the locker room and I saw San Francisco coming out of the locker room. We're not ready. They don't want it. And sure enough, they played sloppy and we still had a chance to win at the end. I mean, that was so crazy, but the defense did shit the entire Green Bay game. I mean, someone put in there, I lost it in the chat, but they put, well, did Mahomes win? Well, yeah, Mahomes won. I mean, what was the score? I mean, Dak did put up, he threw like 3 or 4 touchdowns in the second half. He did his part on the offense the second half. Now, granted, first half sucked. Second half, they did. The defense didn't do their part at all. They didn't make it a one-score game where they had a chance. Every time they got in the striking distance, we got blown up for some wide-open touchdown that I've never seen in my life, 15 yards, nowhere near him. So, it's a team thing, man. It's a team.
Well, and again, like I said, and here Michael up here says 32 points. That's one of the things that I've talked about. If your offense can score 32 points in the playoffs, I would. If somebody told me, hey, Dallas is going to score 32 points in this playoff game versus Green Bay, what chance do you give them to win? I would have said 100%. You telling me we score 32 points in that game? That's a wrap. We're winning that game because in no stretch of the imagination did I think that Green Bay was going to score as much as they did on this Cowboys defense. And did I think that they were just going to completely run away with this thing and out physical this Cowboys team? And I'm just saying, I don't know, man. I don't. It's one of those things where you just scratch your head, and it's the question that is plaguing Cowboys Nation just as much as the which came first, the chicken or the egg thing. Is it a Jerry Jones thing? Is it a culture thing? Is it the coach thing? Is it the quarterback thing? What is it? But the common theme is, and SoCal was yelling about this in the chat a minute ago, 30 years, 30 years, 30 years. Exactly, 30 years. But it's just like that spotlight gets brighter every single year, and the pressure continues to mount and continues to grow because these players hear these things. It's been 30 years. This is a great franchise. This is the franchise that had dynasties in the 70s, dynasties in the 90s. And you hear the former players talk about when are we going to get back to the mountaintop? You've got the fans wanting to know when are you getting to the mountaintop? You've got Stephen A. Smith with his old shtick about just wait. It's an accident waiting to happen. You get all that bullshit. And the spotlight only continues to grow every year. But here's the thing. This is why Jerry Jones cuts these checks for multi-million-dollar contracts, because he is paying you to block all that shit out, and he is paying you to do what you have worked your entire life to do. You have perfected your craft to get to this moment, not to fold, but to get to this moment and shine. and to be better than the man across from you. And the fact that this Cowboys team is yet to be able to do this it's painful. It's painful to watch. It leaves you in an emotional state, and it leaves people angry, and they're looking for somebody to blame, and that's just the problem. That's this Cowboys franchise in a nutshell over the past 30 years, and that's only grown over the last 10 to 15 years. That frustration continues to grow, and the spotlight will continue to get hotter. So eventually, these players are just going to have to go out there and say, you know what, fuck it. We ain't won nothing in 30 years. This franchise ain't won nothing. We're playing with house money. We're playing with house. Forget the expectations. We won 12 games. Let's go in here and do what we've done all year long, block out the noise, and let's go in here and punch these dudes in the mouth because we're tired of getting our asses whooped.
Yeah.
And,
us against them. They got to have the mentality. Us against them.
Exactly. And that only happens when the team comes together as a whole collective, all 53 players with the same mindset, with the same mentality, and with the same mission. And that's where I feel like Mike McCarthy has done a pretty good job of getting this team to kind of come together. You've seen them. It hasn't happened yet. But I feel like it's close. I feel like it's closer than it is. I feel like this team is closer to winning a Super Bowl than it is a team that I would look at and say, you know what, it's time to blow it up.
Yeah,
it's time to blow this whole thing up. I don't feel like it's time to blow this team up. I feel like there's too much talent. I feel like it's a lot of young talent. I feel like you've got a top 8, in my opinion, top 8 quarterback. I feel like if you have all those things encompassing, a good coach, you've got a franchise quarterback, you've got one of the top 2 receivers in the NFL, top 2, top 3, however you want to argue it, one of the top receivers in the NFL, one of the top pass rushers in the NFL. I mean, you've got all these things going for you. You've got a shot to win it all. Yeah. You do.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, man, it's, and you've said it too. It's nobody is going to be all in until they see it in the playoffs. I mean, this team is 17-0, and in the back of their mind, people's minds are, all right, well, let's see what they do in the playoffs. I mean, that's fine. And that's fair. I mean, you can't, I can't argue with any Cowboys fan if they're going to sit there and say, if we're 12-5 and they're going to, well, all I'm going to say is if you're that kind of fan and you're going to be that one, then don't fucking go to the parade, if they end up winning it, right? If you're going to sit there and just, shit on them all year. And then if it happens, say, well, I believed in them. I did that. I mean, you're, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm friends with fans that are the negative ones. I'm friends with fans that are right in the middle that just kind of, they go with the way the wind blows, and then some are going to be all in, and they're going to go for the ride, good or bad. And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, let's talk about it. They got 5 Super Bowls, and what Super Bowl are we in now? 58, 50, whatever. I mean,
something like
that's
that.
53 disappointing years. I mean, the Eagles have had 57 disappointing years. I mean, some teams have never had. You're going to lose more. You're not winning the Super Bowl that much. I mean, what you saw from the New England Patriots is I doubt very highly you're going to see that again. Now, maybe with the Chiefs, I'll eat my words. We'll see what happens. But it's hard to win. But they should be winning, at least once every 20 years. Let's just be generous about it. I mean, 30 going on pushing 30 years is a little bit crazy when you think of some of the teams they've had, because they've had within that 30 years, I'd probably say 4 to 5 seasons where you thought they had a legit shot. I think if we're all being honest with each other, San Francisco is the better team the last few years, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, the first year, Dallas was a better team than San Francisco with Garoppolo, but the last couple of years, I mean, San Francisco's been the better team. You can't hate on them for that. So, but the Cowboys are in there, and not always the best teams win. They just got to be in the fight, and they just got to be in the playoffs in the tournament. And I think they'll definitely get there. So we'll see what happens. But hey, while I got you and we're hitting that, man, do not forget Autograph app. Reward your fandom. It's an opportunity for you guys to, one, support the Cave because they are partnered with us and we're partnered with them. And we hope to be doing some things with them during the season on the app, but it's a great opportunity. You download it. It's free. You can get tickets. They reward you guys, your fandom of following your teams. all the stuff they pull from YouTube, they pull it from Twitter, they pull it from the bloggers, they pull it from the team site. So you can follow all your teams right there in one easy app and get rewarded for it. So again, it's free. Go to Autograph, search Autograph on iTunes or no, Apple, whatever, the app thing, whatever, in on your iPhone or Android, and just make sure you put in Mike Tag as a code. That'll give the Cowboys Cave the credit and acknowledgement, and they'll know that we're running things and we need to be featured prominently on there. So you guys, please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps us out. And then also, we got over 300 of y'all hanging out in the cave. Need you guys to come over and hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, because, 314 of you have been hanging with us for a while, and it's growing. I'm only seeing like 25 likes, man. What the hell's wrong with you guys?
Don't make Mike start yelling. Don't make Mike start yelling. He starts yelling at you guys. You know you're in trouble. So y'all slide over there. Y'all hit the like button. It don't take nothing to do it. It's no effort. You ain't gonna break a sweat. All you gotta do is just slide on over there. Click that like button on the YouTube channel. If you ain't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. It's funny because we always get 300 plus in the chat while we're doing the show. And, and you get so few likes, and it's, we don't want to have to beg you guys, but me and Mike have both shown that we are not too proud to beg. We're like that song from the 90s, ain't too proud to beg. We are not too proud to beg because, listen, the more you guys interact with the channel, the more you guys hit that like button, the more of you guys that ain't subscribe, the more that we can continue to do these things for you, like the tailgate on September 22nd, get you guys cool stuff about signing up for Autograph that Mike's got going on here at the Cowboys Cave, where you can sign up for that using Mike Tag as your sign in, as your promo code. The fact that we've got signed cuts from the Defender of the Star, George T, that you can get these things, that you can get the bottle openers that Cuts is making exclusive. All monies go to the tailgate. Like, there's just so many cool things that are happening right now with this channel that you can be a part of right now. Pre-order right there, $40. You can get a Cowboys Cave cut. If you want that thing signed, you can actually show up at the tailgate. We'll sign them. I don't know what our autographs are worth to guys like you, but you know what? If you want them, we're going to sign them. We'll be there for you to sign them. If not, it is a cool commemorative thing to have in your man cave, in your garage, wherever you might want to put that thing to where you can crack a cold one. But just so many things going on with this channel right now, though, as we continue to grow and do cool things for the fans like you, because that's what we are at the end of the day. We're fans just like you. So we appreciate the support, but we cannot continue to grow if we do not have your help. So I'm going to stop that right there because I don't want to get too long-winded. I just wanted you guys to know a lot of really cool stuff going, and we're just getting going. 2024 season's about to kick off. Things are really going to get going, and we want you guys to be all a part of that. So.
Yeah, and there's a Lamb jersey. I'm wearing Lamb support CD. I think he's going to get signed this weekend. I just have this feeling come Monday morning, we're going to be, ready to move on. And, hey, I'll give you guys a tip, because if you're in the chat on your phone, you don't see the like button. You actually have to exit out of the chat, and then the thumbs up's there. You hit the thumbs up, go back to the live chat. Do it now while I'm waiting. I'm going to keep an eye on it. How many likes we get? Get off of the chat, hit the thumbs up. We're at 27, so 3 people are listening to me. I need more people to you guys to listen to me and get over to YouTube or get over to YouTube and do that. So definitely appreciate it. We're gonna have a great time at the tailgate. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Uncle Cheech was gonna go, but I think SoCal stole his ticket. I was gonna, Doug. We're doing commerce. We're trading commerce in the cave on Monday. Doug had one extra ticket, and there was some wheeling and dealing in the chat. And I said, if Uncle Cheech gets on here before, Uncle Cheech will probably scoop it up. And I think SoCal got it. So we'll get to meet SoCal out there, and hopefully meet all you guys out in the chat. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, and Cuts that's the other thing. He's holding my money. SoCal said we're gonna win less than 9.5 games. I say we're gonna win more. So we got $100 on it. Cuts is He's taking after Uncle Cheech. He's the book. He's holding the money. And then SoCal bought the ticket from Doug. He said, I don't know you, Doug. I don't trust you. I trust Cuts. So I am going to give Cuts the money, and then Cuts trust Doug, right? They're friends. We're all friends. So then Cuts had to send it to Doug. It was a very complicated transaction. I don't know if Cuts got a 5% of the deal. I don't know if he got a finder's fee, holding fee, something like that. But yeah. So but anyway, I cut someone out. Who did I cut out?
Michael.
Oh, you're gonna be beautiful. He's coming all the way from Jersey. That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of work. So I just want to tell you guys, the best way to appreciate us, appreciate it, everything is just come out and have fun. It's, we might have some Ravens fans there. I know a 49er fan's going to be there. We don't want no trouble. We're going to have a good time. But we're going to be staying out there probably starting at about 11 o'clock at night. And you got to stay there and hold your spot. Dallas does not like doing tailgates the way other cities do. It's a lot of work. They make you earn it. So we're putting in the work for you guys. So the way you reward us is come out and have a great time, and hopefully we whoop some ass.
Absolutely, that's the biggest thing. Come out, have some fun. Let's get a win.
Yeah. So it's good, man. It's gonna be fun. I know SoCal, you paid. I had no doubt in you. I paid. Cuts has got the money, and either you're gonna get it. If I win, I'm gonna donate it. We're gonna donate it to a listener. Because I don't want to take my listeners' money. I know I'm going to take your money, so we're going to think of something creative to. We'll turn it into a contest. So it'll be a lot of fun. So what else you got? I mean, people are looking at you. They said, "Are you in a different Cowboys cave? Is everything going on good with you?" I think you shared a little bit some of the crap you've been going through with all the stuff.
I am. Yeah, so I'm actually been staying at my girlfriend's house. She's been gracious enough, and I give her a shout out. Sarah, thank you. She brought me a beer down here into the makeshift man cave. Brought me a beer down here. I had a beer. I had to text her a minute ago. Said I ran out of a beer. Can you bring me another? She was so
That's
nice.
a great woman right there.
She's being a gracious host, though. She's took me and my kids in while my house is my apartment is kind of getting torn apart right now. They're having to redo drywall and stuff. So it's a makeshift man cave out here in her garage. She was like, "Hey, you can go down there, use some stuff." She gave me this thing here to put my helmet and showcase a few things.
I was going to say, you brought the helmet, or did she bring? Now she's a Broncos.
She's a Broncos fan, but she's got things going through here. She's turning her garage into what she calls a she cave. But she's been nice enough to let me use it and sublet this right now. So right now it's the Cowboys cave. But she's been really good about it, and she's got me and my boys kind of put up right here while my place is unlivable right now. So we're doing that. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a pivot, but I was able to do that, and then thanks to her, I'm able to do this and come to you guys and chop it up with y'all. And it's the makeshift Cowboys cave, and it's working. Worked out great. So,
well, let me ask you, because my wife today, a girlfriend in the beginning, right? Like all start. She was not a Cowboys fan. She was a fan of the Washington Redskins. So, but she converted. I mean, she knew kind of she knew the road. Is there hope that maybe there can be a conversion if things progress down the road, or is this going to be too tough? It's going to be too tough.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's I'm a pretty good salesman. I can and I think I can maybe work on this. She does have some pretty good love for the Denver Broncos. I will say that, but I definitely work on her. I will say this. She has worn Dallas Cowboys apparel of mine. She has worn a Dallas Cowboys shirt on multiple occasions. She's worn it. She loves the Cowboys hoodies. She admitted the other day that she's always loved the Cowboys colors. So I mean, I'm making some progress.
You got a helmet in the house, the hat.
I got a helmet in the house. She's letting me do the show in here in her garage and everything. So I mean, I think that we're on the right path here. So I mean, maybe there's hope. Never say never. Never say never. I'm gonna do my part to try to get her converted. We'll see how that goes, though.
Well, I will make a deal with you today. If she converts, you got 2 tickets, 2 of my seats. You take your woman to a Cowboys game as long as she's a Cowboys fan.
All right. Well, I'm working on it. Hey, listen, this may be a long play, Mike. It may be a long play. Might take a little bit, but hey, I'm willing to invest the time. So we'll
that's my deal. That'll entice her a little bit. You got to be a fan. Got to be a fan.
Yeah. Well, I told her this year. I said, "Hey, listen, she's all for watching Cowboys games with me, and she said she'll watch the Cowboys." And I told her, "Listen, I'll watch some Broncos games with you too. It's a give and a take thing." I said, "I'll watch them. They got a good young rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. Officially, it was announced the starter, so there's some optimism there in Denver." So I told her, I said, "Hey, it's a give and a take there." But she knows my passion for the Cowboys, and she's been supportive of that. So we'll kind of see how this thing goes. But yeah, it's maybe a long play, but I'm gonna keep getting at it. I'm gonna keep digging and digging and digging. And maybe after she sees how fun the Cowboys nation is, maybe that'll sway her over to the good guys, I should say.
Well, I will tell you, if she's not changed by next season, this is where your boy can come in and really help. I mean, I'm a salesman too. I took care of one. I'll take care of the other for you. Dallas at Denver. Maybe we do a couples road trip. Maybe, we get a couple other people, maybe some Cowboys Nation, some want to go there. Dallas at Denver. And what we could do, I'm thinking, I always think big and get in my head. We can erase the curse because somehow the Cowboys haven't beat Denver since 92. Yeah. And we can erase that curse in person live because the good luck charms are there. And then at the same turn, we can do the conversion and she'd become a Cowboys fan for life right then. I mean, that's the story.
Hey, man, that's a good idea. We're already thinking towards the future. I like it. I love it.
We'll get it go. But yeah, no, I'm just having fun. But yeah, so it'll be good. Well, hopefully everything works out with your apartment and gets taken care of and get you back in your own cave soon. But until then, we'll keep rolling. We got the Cowboy game on a Saturday. If I'm around, I'll do a show, but it's a Saturday at 4:00, and that's a weekend. 10 o'clock's easy. 4:00, man, there's a lot going on. I don't know if I want to be sitting in front of the TV watching a bunch of a lot of guys ain't gonna be on the team playing. So
yeah, we'll see. It's hard to sit down and watch. I was able to watch that Vegas game. I was actually out at a bar and they had the sound up. So I got to watch the Vegas game. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have seen it because I was kind of out doing my own thing. We went out on a date and then went out and played some darts afterwards. So, but it was on. So luckily, I got to watch it and see it and check it out. It was a pretty good game, entertaining game. That 66-yard field goal by Brandon Aubrey was pretty damn impressive. I do have to say that. So
yeah. Now I gave my apology. I mean, I gave during that I gave my apology because I was one of those guys that when they signed this guy said, "Who the hell are we signing? We really screw up kicker like this and signed a USFL guy who's never kicked in college."
Yeah, same, exactly. So I definitely I was the same way. I was like, oh God, who the hell is this guy? Because if you remember, before last season started, they were saying that there was worries at kicker. And he had missed some kicks in practice and then training camp stuff. So there was and then the regular season came on and this dude just locked in, man. And he hasn't looked back since. And I mean, in my opinion right now, I know you've got Justin Tucker still out there for Baltimore, but in my opinion, next to Justin Tucker, I think Aubrey is the second best kicker in the league. And I think he might actually take that title from Justin Tucker this season just because of the fact, I mean, if you have a cannon like that where you kick it from 66 yards, and I'm going to be honest with you, that probably would have been good from 70.
They said it would have been good from 70.
Yeah, so I'm saying if you got a weapon like that at field goal kicker, I mean, that is invaluable because being able to get points when you're basically at half field, midfield is pretty big for anybody. So I am a huge fan of Aubrey, and I'm the same as you, man. Owe him an apology. Didn't think he was going to be anything special. Turns out he's, I feel like he's going to be the best kicker in the NFL for a while now. So it'd be nice to have a weapon like that on our team.
Yeah, and I would say, we'll wrap it up, but how do you think kickers who practice their craft since they were 10 years old and into high school, into college, and, they're trying to make the pros, they're trying to do this. And then you got a guy that played soccer that never kicked ever until after college. I think his girlfriend or wife kind of talked him into it. Hey, give it a shot. And then he becomes one of the best kickers in the NFL. Does that mean that the job of the skill of a kicker isn't as, how would you feel? Does that make you feel bad if you're a kicker and You've been kicking all your
Yeah,
life.
well, it's not, and I think that's why a lot of kickers. And then don't get me wrong, though, if you get a good kicker, they can still make some pretty decent money. They're never going to make running back, wide receiver, defensive end money. Obviously, it's one of the lowest paid positions on the team. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you see a guy like that come in, and then you're just sitting there going, okay. I mean, this guy literally had very minimal experience of anything at all. I mean, he hadn't kicked in football, and so you're just sitting there going, he was a soccer player, and now all of a sudden he's one of the best field goal kickers in that don't happen in any other profession, and where you just can be, I dribble a ball.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of these, in basketball, you see a lot of these guys, these YouTube guys that can dunk, and they got these, spectacular moves, and they can't play a lick in the NBA, and you see these, and it's funny though, you say that because it made me think about this flag football quarterback. I don't know if you've been seeing over there, this flag football quarterback, they're playing flag football in the Olympics, and he's saying that he doesn't think that NFL players should do it because they haven't not perfected the craft like these flag football players. This quarterback is 5'8", he said that he's got more knowledge of the game than Patrick Mahomes. I want to tell that guy, just get my rental car and pull it around, bub. Pull my rental car around and shut the hell up. Like, don't give me that shit, man. You're a flag fucking football player. I'm sorry, you flag football player, and you're 5'8". Like, get the hell out of here, man. That was ridiculous. But yeah, good point with the kicker thing, though. It's kind of funny that a guy like that can come in and just all of a sudden be the best kicker in the league. So
yeah, I mean, every soccer player out of college has been working and trying to figure out a way to get
trying to duplicate that. And other NFL teams are probably going to be like, hey, let's give him a shot. I mean, this guy might be in our next Brandon Aubrey.
Maybe it's not a bad thing because they haven't had the misses like those years and the pressure that it's just, hey man, let's go out and just kick, and they don't know no better. They don't know no better, so we'll see. But anyway, all right, man, we've been chilling for an hour and a half. Kelly's got stuff to do. I got stuff to do, but we appreciate the 320 plus people hanging in the cave. Definitely, like I said, man, hit that like button on your way out, or if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Twitter, X, Facebook, slide over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the like button and just share it with Cowboys Nation. We got a lot of stuff going on, man. The season is almost here, and a lot of people say, Mike, you've been so quiet. You don't do hype videos. I've been just waiting because doing a hype video in the off season just was not going to get it done. I had to absorb everything. We've had to, Kelly's like, hey, Mike, we got to get this thing right. We got to bring in some champions. We brought in all these champions. If you guys been listening to us, we brought in all these Super Bowl champions into the cave to get the mindset right, and it's paying dividends. Now we're getting in some players. Now the roster is getting a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper. Everyone's getting excited. Our man CD will get signed. I wish it would have happened yesterday, but it's going to happen, and then we're going to drop the hype. Then everything is all is great in the universe, and we're going to start fresh against Cleveland and get this thing rolling the right way. So you guys make sure you hit that subscribe and come along for the ride. Kelly, what else you got to say? You finish this off.
That's it, man. Just thanks. I mean, you wrapped it up perfect, man. You put the bow on that son bitch. Thanks for everybody tuning in, man. Appreciate you guys as always. And we're going to keep doing this thing. We're getting so close to football. What is it? 2 more weekends? We got 2 more weekends still, folks. So 2 more weekends. But, hey, if you're a football fan, there's some college football on this weekend. Not a lot of big games, but Florida State plays that game in Dublin. So that'll be it's a top 10 program. Now they should dog walk their opponent. Cheech gave you that is his lock. So take it up on that. Make you some shkadol there. And that's it, man. We're getting close to football, man. I'm ready to do this thing. So thank you guys for continuing to be contributors to the show. The chat was popping off tonight. I feel like you guys roasted an Eagles fan. I mean, it's a little early for Thanksgiving, but you guys were roasting that Birds fan there. Carl, he was getting it, he stays strong, even with his ignorant comments. He stays strong in the chat. I don't know that I would want to spend my night in an Eagles chat, but hey, it is what it is at the end of the night. Cowboys Nation, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry.